The Raptors lose another tough one. This time to the Boston Celtics, 106-104, live from Real Sports. Welcome to Raptors Tonight. I'm Randy Urban, joined by Jack Armstrong, Leo Rautins, and Paul Jones. Glad to have you with us. Let's talk about the end of the game first, Jack, with the Siakam drive. It's called for a jump ball. Just talk me through what was happening there. Was he fouled?
Well,
Can you challenge that?
I think Nick Nurse thought it was a foul. And I'm not going to put words in Nick's mouth because I didn't hear his post-game press conference because we were coming up here. But I think he looked at it and says there's a lot of contact there, so that's a foul. So I'd like to take a look at that. And the referees are saying, well, it's a jump ball. You can't challenge a jump ball. And then, I think what happens is they misinterpret that. And here's my thing. You don't charge the Raptors with a timeout there. You say, look, coach, you can't challenge that. We're not going to charge you a timeout. And it's going to be a jump ball, period. End of story. What happens is then you get that whole sequence. Raptors end up getting the ball back. And now they don't have a timeout to advance the ball. Now they cut a quarter of the court off with that play. But the ability to advance the ball, it changes your whole play sequence of what you want to run. And instead, you got to give it to Pascal and give the Celtics credit. They just blow it up. Mm-hmm. And Jonesy, you'll probably help me with that.
Yeah. Our man from Raptors.com, Vivek Jacob, put it out there because he was in listening to Nick. And it was the way I saw it play out, and we talked about it on the radio side. Nick wanted to challenge. Michael Smith either...
He wanted to challenge a foul.
He wanted to challenge a foul, but you can't challenge a no call. You have to challenge a foul, an out of bounds, right. Something that's tangible that can be reversed. And there was nothing to reverse.
So you can't say, oh, that was a jump ball, but we just saw a foul play.
No,
you can't do that.
You can't go back. Statute of limitations.
But we did see that. We've seen it twice in the last 10 days.
Yeah. But technically you're not supposed to be able to go back. So now there's nothing really for Nick to challenge. And if Michael Smith misinterpreted or was unsure of the rule, it seemed to me like Ed Malloy was coming over to say, Nick, you can't challenge that. You still want the timeout. At which point, from my vantage point, it looked like Michael Smith said, no, you called a timeout. And Nick saying, again, not to put words in his mouth, but my interpretation was, well, I don't want the timeout if I can't challenge.
Right.
And he said, no, you took the timeout. And hence the issue.
Because I said on the air, why would you call a timeout on a jump ball?
On a jump ball.
And then I'm saying, well, maybe the only strategic reason is to talk to your team about, the jump ball alignment. Remember, years ago, everyone had jump ball plays.
Yeah.
And all that. But so it was a little surprising ending there.
What did you see, Leo, in that fourth quarter? Because it's another tough loss, and they just sort of faltered down the stretch.
Okay, I mean, it's a tough loss, but you kind of break down in the same way in all these games, right? The move and how you're scoring kind of stops, right? It becomes a little bit more isolation, and that's when they seem to get into trouble. It gets more stagnant. Hey, you got Pritchard and Williams. Come on. I mean, you can't give Pritchard open looks.
They shoot the ball.
Yeah. I mean, and Williams is going to lift you every single time. He's going to take the open shot. He's going to lift you. And he's not the quickest guy in the world, but he's just going around people because people are just jumping. So you gotta, everybody always talks about the regular season as a preparation for the playoffs. What's the playoffs about? Details, right? There becomes, I think what we're seeing is in the fourth quarters, there's a loss of detail. There's a loss of attention to detail. And a lot of things that you're doing well prior to just seem to go out the window. And it's a shame because this is last two games are both winnable games.
Raptors are now, it's a stat that I always track. In their championship year, they were 17 wins, 6 losses in games that were one possession, 3 points plus or minus with a minute to go. Currently, after this loss, they are now 5 wins, 12 losses. The poorest winning percentage in those situations. So I guess to Leo's point about detail, Like, you got to finish. You know, it's the little things I think that are getting away from them.
But some of it's detail, and some of it is also, in that season you refer to, they have better players on the floor.
Execution
There's more
is
depth,
better.
there's
Yeah.
more talent, there's more polish, more experience, and
I'll differ on that. There's enough guys here that have enough experience that have been there.
well, Fred VanVleet didn't play tonight.
Fred didn't play, but I mean,
The record is the record, yeah.
Pascal was there,
OG was off the floor, got
right,
hurt.
but the point is, I think at this point, from an experience standpoint, there's enough experience. You just have to, for some reason, the fourth quarters are just getting away from them, and it's to me, it's become a mental thing where you gotta.
Our guy John Russin, statistician on the TV side, put out his graphics today. We get a chance to review them. I think in the last 4 games, I'm not sure. It's a little foggy how many games, but they've been outscored by 8 or 9 points in the second half. They led by 7 at halftime today. Ended up losing it by 2, so you're outscored by 9 points in the second. Like, the little things again, right?
Well, Trent missing that layup too, right? That's is that focus or is that that's basketball too, right? It just happens.
That's interesting. That happens when you're losing.
Yeah.
It just happens.
And Jack, to your point, before we came up and started the show, I had a chance to talk to our guy Leo, 1996 Rookie of the Year, assistant coach for the Celtics, Damon Stoudemire. And we were talking, and I said, tough sled, man, you know what this is like. He said, yeah, but that team in the Raptor locker room, in my eyes, I know the record says you are what you are, but it's not indicative of what's in that locker room. And he said,
I agree.
this team needs one tough win, and then you start feeling it and turn it around. And it's the old line that we heard from Kevin O'Neill, right? You're never that far from being good when you're bad or bad when you're good. And Damon's point to me was, man, it can turn really quickly.
But it's interesting. They had a tough win against the Knicks
I was just
in
gonna say that.
overtime on
They had the
Monday,
Knicks, right?
and now they've lost 3 straight. And that, that's the tough point. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think Leo agrees with you too. And it's just, I don't know how you carry that over. And I think, honestly, you look at the difference tonight, it came down to the depth. And, a guy like Pritchard, who doesn't even play for the Celtics, came out and played big.
Yeah.
And,
He always plays well against Toronto.
well, he's
He
a
had
good
23
player.
last time
Honestly,
he played Toronto.
Brogden, they bring Brogden in.
Who's a starter in previous iterations
I'm sure
of his
Brad
career.
Stevens' phone is ringing off the hook.
Oh, yeah.
For people that say, I'll take this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a third guard on most good NBA teams. He'll come in for any team and help them win.
He's super solid. It's frustrating because I think as a Raptors fan, you look at this record and you're 5-6 games under 500, but there's this collection of games that where if you're watching them, these are right for the picking games. They could theoretically be 5 or 6 games over 500.
Let me give you this. Last year at this point, they were 23-23 with 36 games left. Right, going into tonight, they would have been. If you take the two, if shoulda, coulda, woulda, if you take the 2 Milwaukee games and the Minnesota game that got away, you're 23-23.
Yeah.
Going into today. It's that close.
This is a question from Mauricio Arenas. He wants to know about the roster lineup and rotation. He asks, why is there no set roster lineup / rotation for specific, consistent bench role players? Feels like every game there's an adjusted roster. I think he's talking about Malachi not playing and then playing, Chris Boucher not playing last game, playing today.
Well, they started their 19th starting lineup tonight. That's one of the highest in the league. And number 2, I think you can't have a set lineup because every night it's different matchups. I'm going into a game and there are certain teams I have to match up with certain guys, and there's other nights I might play a guy one night off the bench a lot more, and then the next night might not play him a lot because that match it. So I don't think it's a matter of just scattershot and not thinking it through. These guys think it through a ton. And I think a lot of it comes down to, film study and preparation and saying, this is the best second unit lineup I think can help us with a chance to win.
Leo, you mentioned a few times about Siakam's tendency to go a little bit isolation offensively. How did you see it tonight with that part of his game?
Well, again, not that far different. I mean, Jack and I were talking earlier that I think he feels he's got the ability. He wants to win. I could get this.
I'll do it.
And it's not being selfish.
No,
it's not saying,
no.
screw you guys.
No, not at all, yeah.
It's not what he's doing. But you watch earlier in the game, it's a spin kick, drop kick, right? All of a sudden, end of the game, the kick's not there. You're not trusting your guys, right? You see guys, Trent's open or OG somebody, and you're not kicking, you're going. And it's that balance of knowing, okay, I can go, I can take this. Okay, now it's better to kick when you see, and staying out of trouble spots. We talked about it. The last time the Raptors played Boston, Pascal had a big scoring game, remember?
Yeah.
What happened at the end of the game? Isolation, 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 Boston wins. Boston was perfectly happy with the isolation. Ignore everybody else, let him do his thing. We're going to clog it up, make it difficult, force tough shots, and they won the game. And Pascal had big numbers in that game. So it's where he's got to realize Minnesota, he wasn't having a great game, but there was a lot of isolation at the end of the game. Right? So there's got to be the balance of when you're popping, when you're moving, when you're finishing, and when you're isolated. There's got to be a balance.
That's a little bit more difficult, right, as a big man who now can handle the ball. Because point guards, traditionally, that's been their job, to recognize who's hot, who's not, get the right people in the right spots.
It's not even recognized. It's like two guys coming at you. What's Nick Nurse always say? Help comes kick.
Yeah. When you've drawn two guys,
You've done your job.
Yeah, you've done your job.
And in defense of Pascal, though, he's looking out there saying, Fred's not playing, OG's in the locker room, and I'm looking around going, hey, man, I'm the guy. And, I'm sure Michael Jordan, if Pippen and Bill Weddington, our buddy, wasn't playing, he'd probably say the same thing.
Well, yeah,
We got to take care of Bill Weddington, Canadian,
Billy. But again, it's not out of selfishness. It's nothing, no ill motive here, right? It's just that making the right decision is critical, right? And again, it goes back to what we're saying about the details in playoff. Playoff basketball is all about the details, and winning games becomes details, little things, right?
Let's go to the audience. Does anyone in the audience have a question? Can anyone
They can't hear you.
me? I thought this was... Anyone have a question in the audience?
I can't hear you.
No? All right. Let's talk a little Precious Achiuwa.
Sure, why not?
He's been playing great the last little while. I felt like this game was sort of the culmination in how well he's been playing. He gets the start tonight. Didn't disappoint at all.
No, I look at him right now, and to me, now that he's got his legs under him and he's playing, I think they're more competitive in games now, too.
Absolutely.
I think it makes a big difference. But I will say, you look at this team, and, being able to have one more guy come in and do something. Again, Malachi Flynn come in briefly tonight. You look at what Pritchard did for the Celtics. You need that one more guy that can help
And
you.
remember, what happened tonight is Precious didn't come off the bench.
Yeah, he started. So now you
lost that little pop off the bench.
So those
right?
guys that are coming in have to do something. They gotta give you something.
He's playing with tremendous energy and confidence right now. Like, not giving up on plays. He had a block where he was beat. He got beat at the free throw line, but blocked it at the rim. And driving to the basket, working on the offensive glass. I see a guy who's got his legs back, but he's also got his confidence back. He's got his swagger back.
Think about it. When he was hurt, he was out for a while, comes back. Everybody expects the guy to just be ready. It's not going to happen.
No.
Right? So it's tough to come back in midseason when you've been hurt, especially a foot injury. And you just see the more time he's gotten, now he's back to being Precious. And, people, sometimes you got to be a little patient and let a guy do what he's got to do, but you see the impact he can have, right?
Here's a comment from About Time. I don't know if that's his name. It says, get rid of this foolish sit down and casual eating bit. It's distracting and far from relaxed.
Hey, it's about time here. Cheers to you, buddy.
What's this guy's name?
About time is what he's coming in at. I don't know.
Okay, hold on.
It's about time we have food. It's about time we have food. It's about time we have cocktails.
About time we don't acknowledge your presence. About time. All right, next question.
Jack Armstrong with the next question.
Claire Bachman wants to know, why do they make Jack work the Raptors show if he did the broadcast? Why are you here now?
You should be resting right now.
You know what? Because
Load management.
Load management, that's right.
Hold on. Is that the question right there?
Yeah. You like working.
He's a gamer.
Yeah.
No, I'm a gamer. I'm not like Steve Kerr last night. All right.
When the lights go on,
Giving
and
some
the ball's tipped up,
nonsensical.
Jack's there.
Jack's not asking for less shows.
No load management.
No.
Well, look. Hey, by the way,
More
Steve
shows
Kerr.
are better.
You know, I heard Steve Kerr last night, and that nonsensical. I love Steve Kerr, but really. You know, the minute when I heard what he said, I looked up my phone.
Talking about not playing his guys? What are you
Yeah.
talking? Yeah, okay.
And you know what I did? I looked up his teammate, Michael Jordan, add up the number of games he played per season. That's all.
I'll go you one better.
It didn't kill Michael Jordan, and it sure ain't killing Draymond Green.
I'll give you one better. Never mind look up the number of games Michael Jordan played and didn't miss. He practiced just as hard every day.
When they actually practiced.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 hours.
Imagine that.
And he expected you to practice that hard.
So you didn't like that he's sort of saying, oh, this is not me, it's the situation. I have nothing to do with
look.
this.
Hey, look.
It's the NBA.
We cut the game to 72 games.
Yeah.
Season to 72 games. Are every one of these guys going to take a 17% pay cut? Hell no.
No.
So you know what? They're going to say, keep it 82. We'll keep the scam going. Right? If they cut it to 72, they'll play 52.
Load management on
seriously.
72. Yeah,
Seriously,
that's
come
human
on.
nature. That's human nature.
I agree. Nothing's going to happen. You play 72, guys will still sit. Same thing.
Christian Coloco got assigned to the 905. Jonesy, I think that's going to be great for him, right?
He needs to play.
Yeah.
He needs to play. He got some playing time early, showed what he could do, but also showed what he needs to work on. Go down there, work on it. And again, we all know this, and we've said this before. Look at the guys that have come through 905, had their improvement down there, and it's translated to the big club. DeLon Wright, Norman Powell, Jakob Poeltl,
Fred VanVleet.
Pascal Siakam,
Hey,
Fred
they
VanVleet.
went to the 905 to play. It wasn't a punishment. It wasn't a demotion. It was
Malachi
go
Flynn.
and play, right?
Yeah.
You do that, man. Hey, you want to sit on the bench or you want to play?
Yeah. Let's do a little overtime real quick, just about something non-Raptors.
And, you know, not only are we working, we're doing overtime.
Overtime.
You're in overtime.
No load, we're bringing it.
When you ripped up that, I was like, let's keep this guy going. Did you see what happened with Shannon Sharpe and the Memphis Grizzlies? Obviously,
Yeah, I did.
It's a bad look for everybody involved.
It was a bad look, but you know what? I think there's, in this day and age, there's a little bit of sensitivity going on. Maybe it's the social media era. Shannon Sharpe, the guy's a Hall of Fame football player. This is his opinion. All right, I don't agree with it. And I'm the one on the court. I'm going to show you how good I am. I didn't like all that myself.
I agree about the sensitivity. I mean, but at the same time, I'm not going to go sit courtside and start talking trash to some dude on the floor.
And Shannon Sharpe was a professional athlete.
Right. And
A
if
very
somebody-
good one.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean,
But what does he expect when you do that?
yeah, like,
Well, it's a
yeah.
bad look for us.
It
It's
is.
a bad
It's a
look.
bad look.
If you're just having fun at the game, you should be able to say things in a joking way, but it seemed like he was kind
Hey,
of
Randy,
saying it.
you suck.
Yeah.
No, seriously, man. Hey, seriously.
Hey,
Cut the crap. Come on.
that feels good.
Randy, come on.
You don't like
You
that.
have no game, Randy.
I can still
Randy,
make
you
shots.
have no game.
Where's the ball?
Well, we know he doesn't have
shots.
any game.
I can still make shots. Watch out, Jack. Keep talking. I can
Hold
still
on.
make shots.
See if you got it. Go ahead.
Hey!
Oh! Leo Rautins.
I take it back.
Yeah.
I take it back. He's got
Wow, Hey, you got it.
Hey, thank you.
But see now, you see your response?
Yeah.
You didn't talk shit.
No, I just
you made
a
bad
shot.
Am I allowed to say that, by the way?
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
you already said it. Don't matter.
And see, you didn't talk. You made a bucket. See, that's the way to respond.
That's right.
the way to respond.
Yeah, I mean, he should be able to say something and not have the player.
By the
and
way,
player's
your
dad
brother's holding up a sign.
close the show.
Close the show.
Wait, is he saying closing time or close the show?
Close the
time.
show.
Semisonic. All right.
By the way, I'm all for these 5 o'clock Saturday games.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
Instead, you kind of work your way into the evening. It's a good progression.
Yeah. All right.
But we have a back-to-back tomorrow, Jack.
Yeah. 6 p.m.
Go Bills, by the way. Go Bills.
The Raptors finish their mini 2-game homestand tomorrow, 6 p.m. tip-off against the New York Knicks.
That's all you got?
Be
That's
sure
all
to
you
come
got?
by the show. Be a part of Real Sports.
Shannon
Show,
Sharp
Jack.
right
Yes,
here?
sir.
That's all you got?
He's a little more jacked than Leo.
Hey, Brooke, hey, by the way, Brooks, he's
Thanks for
Canadian.
watching.
We love him.
We'll see you next
he
time.
talks smack.
He does
talk
He does.
smack.
Yeah.
So does Leo.